Whoa, 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 whoa. What is up, my people? Yo, what's up, everybody? I hope everything is amazing for you all, as always. I am your host, the Honorable OCT, OctaviusHaye, and this is the WACCast podcast. So with that being said, let's talk whack to them. Now, have you watched any good documentaries lately? Because I watched one hell of a documentary over the past weekend about King Von. It was made by Trap Lord Ross, and pretty much saying or arguing, or at least giving a perspective of what if King Von was truly a killer, and was he rap hip-hop's first serial killer. So I watched it. Now, Trap Lord Ross just brought up a bunch of evidence, tweets he made at certain times that correlated with people's passing, enemies he had, witness testimonies to officers that saw Von at scenes when people were being murdered, and pretty much saying that they saw Von murder these people. So a good question that was brought up in the documentary was, does this make him hip-hop's first serial killer? And 2 points that were used, that Trap Lord Ross used to argue that point. Again, this is if he had actually committed these murders. And so 7 bodies was supposed to be that King Von did on his own, plus 10 plus 3, which was 10 altogether that he did as far as having that be done. Now, serial killer is somebody that, I think they said, was 3 people over a period of time, not all at once. And then also, what Trap Lord Ross was saying was his enjoyment out of it and his wanting for people to know, and the satisfaction that the killing gave him, even after he was outside Chicago a lot. Now, in my opinion, Trap Lord Ross brought up a pretty convincing argument. It's hard to argue against that with so much of what Von was saying. So whether it was in his tweets, old tweets, his raps, all type of stuff, just the individual people that he was talking about, how many of them were linked to him, how many of them had witnesses that saw him. It's kind of hard to argue this. Now, this documentary did cause a stir. For one, Trap Lord Ross is a white guy. He's from like the UK or something like that. And people like, who are you to talk about Chicago's business, hip-hop business, black people business in general, right? They wilding out. Now, let me tell y'all this. First of all, it don't matter who you are. Everybody comments on everybody's business. It's the same idea that I hear a lot of black people have, that whenever a white person says something about what's going on in the black community, or the black culture, that it's like, who are you to say something about us? Stick to your side. When the hell do we stick to our side? We talk about everybody's mess. We got everything to say. Shade Room posts about everybody, mostly black people, but if it's some white people drama, they gonna post about it. And guess what? I see a lot of black people not minding their own business. If y'all trying to say we can only talk about the business of our culture, our race, or whatever, y'all in a lot of business then that y'all shouldn't be in. So let's stop that noise right there. That's hypocritical. I don't believe in that. I think anything public is open to be talked about by anybody. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. That doesn't mean that they're coming at it from a sincere, honest place. They could be just trying to rile up some drama or something. But the fact is, if it's public, by public people, or even if it's not public people, if it's a public situation that's seen by all, I truly do believe you have the right to comment on that. Second thing people are complaining about when it comes to Trap Lord Ross is, they're saying that this is just bringing more negative attention to these situations, and that documentary is causing gang wars to start back up. It was kind of bringing all the issues boiling back up to the surface, because he's talking about all the people that King Von allegedly murdered in the documentary. Now, to that I say, if you wasn't mad at King Von for putting out the music bragging about these murders, and you weren't saying that King Von making this music is doing the same thing, then don't say nothing about people reporting on it. People can report on the issues. People can report on what's happening. Stop focusing on the reporters and start focusing on what's actually going on out there, and start holding these politicians and lawmakers and everything accountable, because this is a travesty. It's not DJ Academic's fault. It's not Trap Lord Ross's fault. These are things that they see and they comment on it. And yes, the one shot rack was not done with the most taste and most tact, but academics will openly admit that, and is always willing to do what he can to help the situation in Chirac, y'all just won't let that go because a lot of people just don't like academics, and that's the issue they can use to try to say how bad of a guy is, because he really don't do nothing. He just drink and talk mess and talk about people and talk about stuff that's going on. Like, he's not Hitler or whatever, way how people like to act. But back to this. So yeah, I don't want to hear that nonsense from people who have no problem with the gangsters, rappers and the drill rappers talking about these murders that they commit and how they mess up their city with drugs and guns and all this stuff. But then when somebody's reporting on how the city is messed up and maybe he really was talking about this, maybe King Von really was living the life that he was talking about in his rhymes, then all of a sudden y'all get mad at that dude. The victims of King Von, their families have to see this guy profiting, making generational wealth off of telling the stories, out of bragging in raps on beats that they might want to go to the club and have to hear because it's in Chicago, about killing their family members. Whether he did or didn't, he's rapping about doing it. Whether you say it's a character or not, he's rapping about doing it. And these people do believe that he's doing it. And you have to be out of your mind if you think that type of stuff from King Von making these records and Dirk and all these other drill rappers making these records is not having the same effect, if not more of an effect, on people going out Chicago and shooting up the place. Now the only thing is, the people like academics and even Traplo Ross, they'll admit that they believe that their videos can have a hand in that, but no more than the actual shooter bragging about committing the crime on beats that's playing all across the country, and yes, even in Chicago. So stop that nonsense. I think there needs to be a lot of accountability, and if you don't want people reporting on things that happen in these bad communities, bad neighborhoods, and you shouldn't want rappers rapping about it and profiting off of it, especially if they're bragging about murdering real innocent people, or not real innocent people, whoever, whether they're innocent or not, bragging about murdering them to make a profit, and their family has to hear that. So you should be more concerned about that. But of course they won't be, because the media person is always the easy scapegoat to go after. You don't want to go after the rapper. You know, it's my artistic value. I can freedom of speech. I can say what I want. All right, I got you. But yeah, so to me, I thought that Traplo Ross made a phenomenal documentary. Clearly, whether you believe it or not, you can see that the brother really did take his time, do his research before forming his opinion. I encourage everybody to go watch it. It is 3 hours, but you know, if you want to take your breaks, watch it in your parts or however you want to do it. It's a good watch. And yeah, I like the conversation that he brought up. I just don't think that people are going to really look at themselves and look at what did you do. They're always going to try to look at what somebody else did and pass the buck somewhere else besides the artists that, you know, tend to profit the most off of these losses. What a crazy update on Jonathan Majors. Now, we all know that he was arrested for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend, and he was taken in. The girlfriend later denied the assault. His lawyer said he had some text messages that proved his innocence. Text messages did not. But they also said they had some video evidence. We haven't seen that yet. Now, only type of real repercussion that came to Jonathan Majors besides, you know, the negative press was he was doing some Army commercials. Those got stopped. But other than that, we hadn't really heard any more updates about it. And we didn't know if the police were going to take the word of the girlfriend or if they had some other information or what was going on. But it was kind of stale, old story, lots of stuff happening, and you know, started to die down a little bit. And what we had seen was there was a little bit of speculation if like Marvel would drop him because Jonathan Majors is playing like their big villain Kane, but nothing happened. So we just like, all right, well, I guess everybody just waiting to see what happens. Waiting to see what the evidence shows. Then bam, out of nowhere, but man, it's just like all on one day. Bam, we hear his management team dropped him. Bam, we hear Jonathan Majors' PR team dropped him. Bam, they're saying he's been dropped for a number of film roles. He's lost a number of film roles. It's like, wow. So, only thing I wonder is, because they waited for a few weeks to do this, instead of doing it right away when the news was fresh and hot and everybody was talking about it, you know, I wonder if maybe they found something. Maybe they found some information, found some evidence that makes everybody feel comfortable with dropping them. You know, we don't know. We still don't know everything that happened that night, or pretty much anything that happened that night. And who knows? These are powerful people in powerful positions who, they have the resources to maybe get some information, and maybe they saw, oh yeah, he beat the crap out of her, he choked her out, whatever the allegations are, and everybody's just like, we dropping you. And who knows, maybe something will come out in the next few days to support this. Also, I don't know, because it's like, if there is nothing and the news on it is kind of dying down and everybody's kind of like, okay, let's wait and see what happens, essentially, or just don't care anymore, you would think that a lot of these corporations and companies would say, his management PR team would be like, well, let's just wait. It doesn't seem like anybody's pushing us to do anything, so let's just wait and see what the evidence shows. And that's the only reason why I'm like, well, maybe something crazy came out that they could not defend, and everybody's just like, I'm done. I don't know if Marvel has dropped them yet. Marvel might be on the way to CPAS, but this has definitely brought the news back up about this and put some doubts in some people's heads, including mine. All I know is, boy, Headman better be guilty, because if he's found not guilty and the actual proof that was promised is put out there and it shows that Jonathan Majors did not hit his girlfriend, did not choke his girlfriend, woo, the backlash that management team, PR team, those studios that dropped him from those film roles, the backlash people are going to have for Jonathan Majors, or in defense of Jonathan Majors, saying that everybody jumped to conclusions, innocent until proven guilty, how could you just destroy a man's livelihood without proof, it's going to go down. It's going to be on some Amber Heard, Johnny Depp levels of people complaining and going off. They are not going to take this. And so I hope, for the sake of everybody, that people know for sure, yeah, he beat her. And this is not just, social justice trying to look good for the public. This ain't just some PR stuff. Like, y'all actually know what y'all talk about, and not just trying to, look like you stand with women. Because if he's not guilty and it's proven he's not guilty, without a doubt, yeah, they're gonna crucify you, man. It's gonna be over. I don't know what Jonathan Majors is gonna do. I don't know what his career look like. I know that man is like, dang. If he did do it though, I don't care how upset he'd be, because I always say, let's wait and see what happens. Let's get the facts, and that's where I'm standing at right now. But if the facts come out and it shows, man, look, this man clearly was abusing his girlfriend, then I'm gonna have to stand on, whatever, throw him wherever he gotta go. But if he didn't do it, this is something that's gonna stick with you. Even people who found out guilty of stuff, people always want to throw that stuff in their face when they upset at them or trying to talk about them. And this is a negative, terrible thing to be put on your name. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if Marvel go ahead with everybody and drop him, and what that means for the Kane character, because that's supposed to be their big bad guy. But this is crazy, and it's just brought everything back up to light again. So Cenat, the popular streamer, Twitch's most popular streamer, he was actually banned from the platform. Now, this is Twitch, so he's banned for like a few days before they let him come back. But they didn't even tell him why. Now, a lot of people are saying it's because Kai got shoes from Kick. Or Kai, I think it's Kick. Actually, it's Kick. Another popular streaming service place like Twitch that, people go online and talk to their fans and, and do stuff. Now, they're in competition with Twitch, obviously, and places like Kick and other places are, signing these Twitch streamers up, or these streamers up to these deals exclusively to stream on their services. And so I guess when Twitch saw Kai talking about another streaming service on their platform, they decided to ban him. Now, of course, this is all speculation, because, again, Kai himself has not been told, and that's usually how Twitch goes. Even academics who said that at one point Twitch was informing him why he was banned, they said that academics said last time he was banned, Twitch did not inform him. And you're kind of seeing this trend with, Twitch, where they are banning a lot of people now. Aiden Ross was banned. A lot of people call him problematic, and I do believe he is. Sneeko banned from a lot of this stuff too, and also very problematic. Would not even verify that Hitler was evil because he didn't want to be part of groupthink. So stupid. But anyway, what I'm noticing is that Twitch is kind of feeling themselves a little bit and don't feel like their creators are worthy of the explanations, even their biggest cash cow, Twitch does not feel like is worthy of an explanation, and they can do whatever they want. And now, if I was Kai, what I would do is I would use the big fan base that I have accumulated, and I would get me a really good deal, because you already know, Aiden Ross and Sneeko got a lot of millions for, doing exclusive streaming deal. And Kai's the biggest person on Twitch, which is the biggest platform. He gonna get him a big bag, a super duper big bag, and a little bit more respect. So I'm sure he's thinking about that, thinking about every option he has, or what he wants to do next. And I'm sure he'll let us know whenever. As of right now, I know he's been on Instagram Live doing his thing and connecting with the people. I just wish that places like Twitch learn to respect the creator before they have to, acknowledge the contributions that they've given to their platforms. And if there is an issue, talk about it with some people. Everything doesn't have to be a direct ban, but I don't know. It seems like Twitch doesn't really care. They want to, make sure everybody bow to their will, and this could come back to hurt them. Like I said, Kai is their biggest star. He's their biggest performer on Twitch. And if he goes, that's going to be a lot of people who he might be able to influence to leave to wherever else he decides to do an exclusive deal with, or wherever else he goes, even if he doesn't want to do an exclusive deal. But that seems to be the big bag right now for the Twitch streamers, or streamers in general. You get yourself a big enough audience, you might get somebody who's willing to pay you a lot of money to only stream on their platform. So we'll see what happens with that. Like, I really wanted to talk about this because I'm surprised, and I hope that Kai recognizes his wealth, which I believe the brother does, because he's a very talented dude. He's very entertaining. I've seen some of his stuff. I really enjoy it. He's not problematic. He's not really into politics. He's just about having a good time, having fun, thinking outside the box, creative ideas. It reminds me a lot of like the content creators from like the early 2010s that were just doing all type of stuff and just wanted to have fun. And yeah, I like him. He seems like a real cool guy. So when you see a successful person, especially a brother who's, just through his own talent and, entertaining himself, has amassed such a large audience, you really want him to shine, and you really hate to see when that talent is disrespected. And you would think that somebody at that level would at least be allowed to know why they're banned without speculating. But I mean, pretty much the man was showing his shoes he got gifted by another company, a rival company, on their platform. It's not rocket science to think that's what caused him to be banned, but again, don't know for sure because they didn't feel like they needed to explain it to the top draw. So top draw needs to use his top draw power and find him someplace that's going to respect what he has built up and respect that for them, or respect that he can bring that to them and give them those same numbers. So go ahead, Kai. Great job doing what you do. Much respect. So that's the show for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in and getting this whack wisdom. And I hope you come back next week to get a little bit more from me. Now, of course, if you haven't already and you're listening to this on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I'm dropping new content on the channel. And of course, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, please make sure to follow the podcast, and on any platform where you're able to comment, do that as well. That way, one, you'll get notified every time I'm dropping episodes of the pod on those platforms, and also it's always good to leave a comment, helps us out. With that being said, this is the WACCast podcast, and I am whacking off.
It's the WACCast podcast. Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack
It's
to me.
the WACCast podcast. Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.